He just wanted rent money. He got an apocalypse. Eli Navarro was 20 years old, 3 months behind on rent, and about to drop out of art school. Nobody believed in a painter who couldn't sell a single piece. Not his landlord, not his professors, not even his own mother, who stopped calling to check in months ago. That night, walking home through Brooklyn in the rain, he ducked into a pawn shop to get out of the storm. That's where he saw it. An old leather book sitting alone on a shelf, untouched by dust, like the whole store was built around it. The old man behind the counter didn't try to sell it to him. He just said one thing. That one chooses its own buyer. Eli opened it anyway, one page, glowing faintly gold. 6 words burned into the leather. Ask, and it is yours. He laughed. Out loud, in an empty pawn shop at 1 a.m. Then, half joking, he said it. Fine, I need rent money. The page ignited. Not with fire, with light. Gold light, pouring out of the book and wrapping around his hands like liquid. When it faded, there was cash in his palm. Real cash. More than enough to cover 3 months. With edges that shimmered faintly gold in the streetlight. He should have walked away right then. He didn't. He went home that night, feeling like the luckiest man in New York. He didn't notice the shadow that slipped through his apartment door behind him. He didn't notice it in the corner of his kitchen while he counted the money. He didn't notice it watching from the hallway while he finally slept, peacefully for the first time in months. He noticed it the next morning in the bathroom mirror. His reflection didn't move when he did. For 1 full second, the face staring back at him wasn't his own. It was something with too many teeth, grinning wider than a human jaw should allow. Then it blinked, and it was just Eli again, pale and shaking, staring at his own reflection. He told himself it was stress, lack of sleep, nothing more. That night, a voice spoke inside his skull, calm and low like it had always been there. You signed. Now you owe. He hadn't signed anything. He hadn't even touched a pen. By morning, his left eye had changed color, a deep, unnatural violet glowing faintly in dim light. He tried contacts. They didn't work. He tried sunglasses. People still stared. Then he started seeing things. Shapes crawling along the sides of buildings, clinging to fire escapes, slipping between shadows in broad daylight. Things with too many limbs moving in ways nothing alive should move. Nobody else on the street even looked up. He thought he was losing his mind. He wasn't. 3 nights later, the shadow that had followed him home finally stepped into the light. It stood 8 feet tall in his kitchen, skin the color of dried blood, eyes like embers, wearing robes that seemed to be made of smoke. Eli didn't scream. He was too terrified to make a sound. I'm not here to collect your soul, the demon said. I'm here because you're the only thing keeping the door shut. The demon explained what the book actually was. Not a wishing book. A seal, an ancient contract binding a doorway beneath Manhattan. A door to a place that should never open. For 300 years, the book had chosen one person, once a generation, to carry that seal in their blood. It had chosen Eli the moment he said yes. The rent money wasn't a gift. It was proof the contract had activated. And the creatures crawling across the city, they weren't random monsters. They were testing the seal, looking for the crack that Eli had just become. How do I undo it? Eli asked. You don't, the demon said. You hold the line or the door opens, and everything on the other side comes through. For the first time in his life, Eli understood what it meant to actually matter. He spent the next week learning what his new eyes could see, what his new senses could sense, training in empty subway tunnels and rooftop shadows with a demon who was, against every expectation, the only one honest with him. Then the real test came. A rival cult, humans who had spent decades trying to break the seal themselves, believing what lay beyond the door was power worth. Releasing, found out a new seal bearer existed. They came for Eli during a citywide blackout, cornering him on a rooftop in lower Manhattan while the crack beneath the city began to widen for the first time in 300 years. Eli had no training, no weapon, nothing but violet eyes and a demon whispering instructions in his mind. He fought anyway. Golden chains erupted from his chest, wrapping around the cultists, around the shadow creatures pouring up through the widening crack, around the very foundations of the street beneath him. It wasn't strength. It was the seal itself, fighting through him to close what should never have opened. The door slammed shut with a sound like the whole city exhaling. The cultists scattered. The creatures dissolved into ash, And Eli stood alone on the rooftop, breathing hard, violet eyes glowing in the dark. Manhattan's skyline stretched out silent and unaware below him. He never got his old life back. He didn't want it anymore. He still can't sell his paintings. He still can't always make rent on time. But every night now, somewhere in New York City, something tries the door beneath Manhattan. And every night, it stays shut because of a deal a broke art student never meant to make. He just wanted rent money. Now he's the only thing standing between New York City and something that, shouldn't exist.